Welcome to the CIS 26 podcast series, The Convergence Advantage, where we explore forces shaping global capital mobility. Today, we are joined by the lovely Charmaine Quinlan Donovan, who is CEO of the Antigua and Barbuda Citizenship by Investment Unit. We're going to discuss what regulatory convergence really means for the Caribbean CBI programs and how alignment is moving from policy to a new operational reality. Charmaine, welcome. How are you doing?
Hello, Stachio. Thank you. I'm doing very well. It's a nice and sunny day in the beautiful Antigua and Barbuda. No better time than to sit and have this lovely chat with you.
Lovely. It's good to be here as well. And just for our listening audience, you took the helm of the Antigua and Barbuda CIU back in 2017. It's nearly 10 years. Talk to us
Yes.
about your professional background, being the only female CEO in the region, and how was that played out, and what's it like in this public service role for you?
One thing I can tell you about this industry, it's always exciting. Every day you get up and there's something new to look forward to. It's a very, very dynamic industry. A lot of potential for growth for anyone who is a professional in this industry. So my background really is in banking and in the regulatory environment. I started out in the commercial banking sector in Antigua and Barbuda, and then I went over to the central bank, which is the flip side of things, to regulate the banks. I spent almost 9 years at the central bank, and
Right.
then I rejoined the commercial banking system at the Bank of Nova Scotia. And when I left, I was the head of the compliance for the Eastern Caribbean region. I took a leap of faith and came into this industry, not quite sure what to expect. I think
Right.
at that time, there wasn't a lot of information about these programs, especially in our parts. And so I came over with a bit of skepticism. But the role that I came in was the Chief Operations and Chief Compliance Officer. So I felt confident that I could use my background from the regulatory environment to assist this program in starting up, because I came in 2013 when it was just beginning. So I was able to help with
Mhm.
the policies
Right.
and the various administrative requirements and so on. And after I came over into the industry and really understood what it was, I think initially, as with most of our people, I thought of selling passports, but I quickly learned that this was a lot more than this. In fact, it's not about selling passports at all. It's about giving people an opportunity to have a brighter future, giving people
Right.
options, an insurance policy, if you will. And I've seen firsthand how these programs, at least the Antigua and Barbuda program, has changed the lives of so many people. And so I'm excited. I have a really great team. We work very well together, and together we've really taken the program from 0 to 100, and I'm very, very, very happy. You asked about being the sole female in the industry.
Yes.
Well, in our parts, in the Eastern Caribbean. Um, I
Yes.
have to say that amongst my peers, I feel as an equal. They all treat me as an equal. We all get along very well. We share ideas whenever we get the opportunity. We strategize together. And as we go forward in this podcast, you will get to hear how we are really collaborating in these times. This is the most cohesive I've seen all 5 countries, and I think it will augur well for the industry on a whole.
That is very, very good. I mean, you've given quite a solid background of yourself, and I can see why you were chosen for the role that you're in. And as we know, the industry has evolved tremendously over the years. Right now, the Caribbean Citizenship Program seems to be entering a new phase of scrutiny and reform. Yeah.
Yes.
And as you mentioned, the five countries are working more cohesively. Well, from your vantage point, could you tell us what forces are driving these shifts at the moment in the industry?
Okay, well, it so happens that we're all converging now because of, let's say, increased heat from the EU and the US in particular. Um, but for a number of years, we have seen the need to improve what we're doing, improve our product. We have, as heads, been speaking about how we can work together to improve this space, make the Caribbean the best investment migration space globally. Um, our based on the pressures that have been brought to bear, especially by the EU. First of all, they started to speak about the need for genuine links because, of course, they see these programs as passport for sale programs, golden passport programs, and felt as if we did not do sufficient due diligence, and so our programs present an increased security risk, especially to their borders. And we've been in dialogue for years now with the EU. The EU previously has been engaging through questionnaires. So they'll send a questionnaire to ask us about our programs and engage that way. In the last 2 to 3 years, we've seen more of a face-to-face, more dialogue, more discussion, more trying to understand what it is, how these programs benefit the countries, how we actually
Right.
operate the programs, and be able to examine whether or not we do present heightened risks to them. The US was the first out the gate in terms of sitting with all of us and coming up with the 6 principles and meeting very regularly and providing support in order for us to achieve compliance with the principles. The UK as well has been in constant dialogue. The UK would have visited all of the units, all of the programs, and assessed. They've sent their persons on the ground to actually have a proper assessment to determine where we're all at, what weaknesses may exist, what strengths may exist,
Right. Right.
and ways to improve the program. So we're here now. We're here now,
We're
and
certainly here.
we're happy that the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and the OECD Secretariat have really increased their interest and support to these programs. I think everyone understands how critical the revenues generated from these programs are to our economies. We're small island developing states, not a lot of options to generate foreign direct investment. And so, in order for us to be able to maintain stable economies, we've been getting strong support from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and the OECD Secretariat. And most recently, as you are aware and our listeners will be aware, we are looking at the establishment of the Eastern Caribbean Citizenship by Investment Regulatory Authority. A mouthful, we just call it ECCIRA around here. And
ECCIRA.
yes,
Yes.
ECCIRA.
ECCIRA. That's right.
That's correct. And so, all five of us, we have passed the agreement in our parliaments, and we're just awaiting indication as to when the agreement will come into force. We expect that later this year, the regulatory authority will be established. I know that they're recruiting persons right now. They're also setting up policies because, as the governor of the central bank says, you know, we want to hit the ground running once the authority is established. And so I think this is really going to augur well for our region and the industry as a
Yes.
whole. When we look at where we're pivoting to in terms of increased due diligence, increased standards for the various stakeholders in the industry, the
Yes.
developers, the agents, reporting. I know that in some countries the criticism has been that it's almost like a black hole. These programs are a black hole. There's no transparency. In Antigua's case, we really have been reporting every 6 months on the
Excellent.
progress of the
Yes.
program and so on. And
We've
so
seen
there
that.
will be reporting requirements in this new agreement. So everyone will be on the same level in terms of the standard of reporting and sharing information. And just overall, it will people tend to be afraid of regulation, but having worked on that side, I see how beneficial it is. And I'm actually very excited. I'm looking forward to when we actually establish the authority because only good can come out of this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you've delved deep into another side of the conversation that we all really wanted to get into today. You you're talking about the most misunderstood thought about the whole CBI industry and the program, this black hole, and then of course here we are now, the dawn of a new era, where we're talking about a common phrase, regulatory convergence, and there's an operational reality to that. You look forward to the establishing of the ECCIRA, ECCIRA for
Yeah.
short,
Yes.
right? Tell us from your perspective, Charmaine, what does it actually mean in practical terms having this new body in place, and how do you see that functioning relative to the five programs?
Now, as I said, I see it as a very positive step. Um, As with every other industry, the banking system, regulation has really helped the banking system. The customers benefit from this regulation because there are standards across the board, there's a level playing field, and it's a similar thing that will happen with the establishment of ECCIRA here in the region, where our applicants will stand to benefit, the agents will stand to benefit, the developers will stand to benefit. No longer will potential investors be able to pit each country against each other. So sometimes you'd have investors come and say, well, I can do so and so in St. Kitts, so I can do so and so in Dominica. Why are you so strict? St. Lucia allows this, Grenada allows that. It will be a level playing field, and so you will now choose the country based on the unique features of the country, based on your needs and ensuring that that country aligns with your needs. And what I found when you had that fierce competition, now competition is good, mark you. Competition is really good. It helps you to be your best self because you know that there are other persons who will snatch your share of the market if it is
Right.
that you're not operating, competitively. However, sometimes competition can be devastating. Several years ago, we saw the race to the bottom because there was this price war between the
Yes.
programs. And so for me, having a regulator, you know that there is a regulator who will be coming in, doing on-site inspections, checking your books, ensuring that yes, we have the agreement in place, but then there is confirmation that the provisions of the agreement are being consistently applied in your program. It really holds our feet to the fire, and it can only augur for a better industry.
Absolutely. And you've given quite a mouthful there, and you're right. I guess drawing on your strengths from the regulatory days, right?
Yes.
And very detailed. I'm pretty sure our audience will draw a lot of good um, insights from what you've discussed so far with us. We're looking at CAS 26 this year, being held in St. Lucia. Last year, we had a fantastic time in Antigua. Oh boy, people are looking forward to CAS 26 this year, not just for the business, but entertainment value. It's also being held during the St. Lucia Jazz Festival. Persons are asking if Charmaine is going to be making a guest appearance this year as well on stage.
Well,
Yeah.
This time it's for my colleague to set the stage, and I really don't want a crowd trample on his parade. It is his time to shine. I will allow him to shine.
Absolutely. Well, he said he planned to shine and outshine last year's intended value. So we'll see how that goes. But on the business side of of CIS brings together governments, advisors, investors, financial institutions, and of course this year with the new regulations in place. Right? From your perspective, why is that crossed sector dialogue critical, especially right now?
That's a very good question and a very timely one as well. Well, as you know, CIS started in Antigua and Barbuda under another name, of course. It was the brainchild of our Prime Minister, Honorable Gaston A. Brown. And the intention has always been for it to be a roving conference, meaning that all 5 countries have an opportunity to host. And the intention was to bring the business to our shores. In the past, conferences were always held in the Americas, in the Middle East, these faraway countries. And I think what CIS really has been doing for the Caribbean is to bring people here to get them to see the unique beauty and attraction that is the Caribbean, to see the opportunities, because a lot of persons who are in this industry who have never been to the Caribbean do not understand the huge potential that we, each of the countries, have. And
That is
so
so
I
true.
find
So true.
that in terms of a business opportunity, this has been one of the biggest benefits of CIS. In terms of this year's in terms of this year's production, and the expectation of all of these great minds meeting together, I think what it will help us to do is to cement the way forward. We all have had all of these discussions. There are a lot of steps and activities and actions that are already in train. I think this opportunity is for us to solidify where we are, where we're going, and to let the world know that we are here to stay. We are keen on running really strong programs. These programs, as I said earlier, provide a vital revenue source for our economies, and so we have pledged to our international partners to do the hard work, to do what it takes to improve the programs wherever it is that they see weaknesses, wherever they see risks to their own countries. We have demonstrated and we will continue to demonstrate that we're committed to making these changes, because these programs are vital to the lives of the people in the Caribbean. So on this stage, there will be a lot more solidification of where we're going, how we are going to, what route we're taking, and how we're going to work together in achieving this.
Oh, sounds really exciting already. Tell us a bit more from your perspective. Speaking about Antigua and Barbuda, each country, each of the 5 usually show up with a particular strategic approach, things they want to announce, the uniquenesses and so on. What does Antigua and Barbuda, how do you see yourself leading from a regional perspective, given the new ecosystem, given the new landscape where there's residency requirements, etc., right? And it's a bit more competitive that way. How do you see Antigua and Barbuda stepping into CIS and leading the way this year?
Well, first of all, we're bringing a big contingent, so there will be a lot of presence from Antigua and
One of the
Barbuda.
largest, I must say, one of the largest contingents for sure.
Wow,
Yes,
good, good, good.
yes.
And that really is to hit home to the industry that Antigua is here to stay. We're open for business. We remain open for business, and we have been listening to the needs of our industry, of our clients, and we continue to work on improving our product. Of course, I'm not going to share any secret news that I would like to announce at the at CIS here.
That's a question I had for you, eh? That's a question I have for you. Anything to
But keep
just
watching
we have
this
to wait.
space. Keep watching
Right.
this space. And you know, just
Yes.
before CIS begins, we will be going through a real significant process here in Antigua and Barbuda. On the 30th of
Yes.
April, we
Yes.
will hold general elections. And the air is very vibrant here. Everybody is, you know, just really waiting on that day to make their choice. And lots of exciting things happening in Antigua. It's an exciting time. And we are just really happy to know that we can be a part of the CIS success.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. The CIS success. Yeah, and we certainly wait to see what new announcements you have. I was in Antigua just last week, actually, and the place is definitely looking different, vibrant, quite red,
It's
and there's a
very
lot of colors in
vibrant,
between.
very
Very vibrant
colorful,
indeed.
very vibrant.
Very colorful. It's exciting actually. So we're hoping that with that excitement and following up with CIS right after that, we could have more excitement continuing, and Antigua and Barbuda can continue its push towards dominance within the industry in the region, of course. Looking ahead, let's look ahead a little bit, right? What would success look like for the Antigua and Barbuda CBA program? Not just in terms of application and numbers and so on. Uh, what about reputation, investor quality, and strategic impact? What does success look like along those lines for Antigua and
Well,
Barbuda?
success looks like everything you've mentioned, Stachio. Antigua has been a trailblazer since it entered into this space, and I don't expect it to be any different. Success for me means continuing our stellar reputation. You ask any of the international partners about Antigua and Barbuda, the CIP that is run in Antigua and Barbuda, and they have only good things to say. You interact with my team members and you realize that they really have the good of the program and the good of the country at heart. This is what drives them. They want to ensure that we can always offer the best product, and that we can minimize any adverse effects that we have to our international partners. We want to ensure that we continue to be the program of choice for our clients worldwide. We continue to present unique and awesome opportunities to our clients.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
we continue to be the employer of choice in Antigua and Barbuda. There's so many people knocking on our doors wanting to come into the CIU because they see that our staff really love what they do. Whenever you interact with our staff, whenever they go out, you see the joy, you see the glow on their faces because they love what they do and they love the environment in which they do it.
I could attest to that. I've interacted with a number of staff members when I'm there. They're all very happy. So there's something special you're doing at the unit. I would encourage you to continue for sure.
It's female
you know.
leadership. You know, female leaders tend to be a little more empathetic, eh?
I didn't want to say it for sake of being, a bit biased, but I think you're correct. you know, um, so that was, internally, and you're certainly shaping up for huge success and continued strong reputational management. Looking a bit regionally now, though, what opportunities does the Caribbean have to position itself as a global leader, responsible, and a global leader in terms of responsible investment migration? Let's look at the region. What opportunities do you see exist for the Caribbean?
Well, there are varied opportunities. It really depends on what the investor is looking for. Again, with the establishment of ECCIRA, these programs are going to be better than they already are, and they are all really good. The intention, or I should say, that's my intention, but I think the result of ECCIRA will be that in this little sphere of the world, you will have we will be the standard bearers, we will be the trendsetters for the investment migration environment. And so instead of us looking out, our friends, our brothers, our sisters from across the globe will be looking into us to
I
see
like that.
yes, to see
I like
what next,
that.
what's the next step.
And that's interesting because we have led the way with the Caribbean programs, pioneered the whole CBI industry, investment migration, started in St. Kitts some 40 thereabout years ago. And, we continue to evolve, adapt to the changing times, the international pressures. Now with ECCIRA, we are bearing standards and keeping everything at a level that continues to show that we are serious about our programs. We have, in fact, we value the income that comes from it. And this is our way to continue to develop our nations, be it
Well, the
infrastructure,
common
be it
thread in the
human.
Caribbean is
Yes,
that we're resilient people. So
yeah,
we will always reinvent ourselves. We will always come together when we really need to, and become a real strong united force. We are. This is in our DNA. Resilience is in our DNA, and so
I like
I
that.
think this is why you're seeing what you're seeing.
Yes, and it's quite admirable, And then, so finally, if we were to be having this exact conversation, and I know we will, in about 5 years from now, we were having this conversation again. What would you hope would have fundamentally changed in how the world understands the Caribbean CBI programs?
So I can see that the change is happening, but I think in the next 5 years, our international partners will understand that we actually have implemented the best processes, the best systems. We have the best due diligence process. So when we actually look into someone's character and say that yes, this person is fit to become a citizen of our region, it is because of the robust process that we would have put this applicant through. I think more and more they are understanding, they are seeing that we're not fraudulently operating these programs. We're not taking funds on the side to allow people to change their identity. In fact, it's so very difficult to change your identity to these programs. None of our programs allow it through the application process, and in some cases you have to wait 5 years in order to be able to change your name or make any changes to your identity, and then you would also need to do so in your
Yes.
passport of origin. And so I think as our international partners continue the dialogue, to continue to ask the tough questions, they will see in the next 5 years, I think that we will be working even closer together with our international partners, because then they will have the appreciation for the processes that we've implemented, the robustness of our programs, and they'll also see the development in our individual countries. So the revenue generated from this program, when you look around the islands, you are already seeing the development, you're seeing the enhancement and so on. And so in the next 5 years, I can only imagine that it will be more evident. So that's the type of conversation I think you and I will be having in the next 5 years.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to having this conversation and many other conversations between now and the next 5 years. In the meantime, as we gear up for CES 26, could you send a heartfelt invitation to persons who are looking at this podcast, or persons who are interested in CBI and coming to CIS? Just send a shout out, send a few words to them to invite them to the CIS in St. Lucia, May 6th to 9th. Well, thank you very much for that statement, Charmaine. It has been a fantastic discussion here today. We look forward to having more conversations as we go into CIS, as we do on networking, and more important, you want to ensure that persons can come and continue to follow the evolution of the investment migration industry. Charmaine, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing these valuable insights. The conversation continues at CIS 26 at the Royalton St. Lucia, May 6th to 9th. See you there.
See you there indeed, and thank you so much, Stachio. Really enjoyed this conversation.
Likewise. See you at the Jazz Festival, and we'll have a good time.
Oh, for sure, for sure.